think we have Annapurni who is supposed to join. I think couple of more, but let's me get started. Let's do that. Yeah.
Because in the new one, sorry. Yeah, is this a new one? The first slide is different. I just want this. Start.
Lakshmi is frozen, right? Lakshmi, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lakshmi. She's frozen. I think she's talking, but we are not able to hear. Now she's moving. Lakshmi, did you talk? Editor. Because you were frozen, we didn't know whether you were talking. I do have.
We'll get started, Lakshmi.
So, good morning everyone and thank you for joining us. Am I audible? Can everyone hear me? And see the slide that has been presented? Mahalakshmi, Mullai, Ramya, Deepa, Chandrasekhar, can you wait for your response? Yes, we can hear me. Yes, we can hear you. Yes, Lakshmi, we can hear you. Awesome. So let's get started. It's already 11:10. And thank you guys who have joined on time. So today we are here for a reason. We'll do a quick grounding activity. So wherever you are sitting or if you're standing, I request you to sit down somewhere. Just relax yourself as much as you can. You can keep your device at a certain distance or of the lab. Just sit in a place where you can breathe normally. If you can just put your mic on mute. Yeah, thank you. So if you guys can just sit in a place, breathe as normally as you can. Just settle down for the next 50 minutes or so. Just relax yourself, relax your shoulders, relax your face. Today we are here because of a child, one child, or more than one children of ours, who is causing us more challenges than we appreciate or than we pursue. You can bring that child's face to your mind. That child who's challenging you so much. How that child looks now, you can bring that face to your mind. You can also go back a few years and you can remember how the child looked when he or she was born. The face of this child who's challenging you so much today, how he or she was born, how they were when they were 1 year old, the face of your child, the way your child is born with you that child, that individual, that unique individual whom you have, whose future depends on what you are going to do today, who has a lot of potential, who has a lot of possibility, can be an absolutely amazing being, will be. Just bring to mind all of that, starting from their birth to their today. Take few deep breaths, accepting that this will also pass, that you have a very major role to play in that becoming of that child. And no matter how exhausted you are, how tired you are responsible for that change. And that your child is going to be a beautiful individual. That acceptance with that deep thought. Breathe as naturally as you can. If you're feeling heavy, if you're feeling overwhelming, just take deep breaths. Take nice few deep breaths. With the belief that everything is going to be okay, that things will change, that it's just a phase. So far you've been through so many phases of your child's life. This could be the most challenging, and there you are. You're going to get past this through this. Thank you so much for participating in this grounding. Whenever you're ready, please open your eyes and let's come back to the session. It is not easy for all of your parents who are here today with grown-up children challenging you so much with words, physically, emotionally, mentally, trying to question you in everything you say, everything you do, trying to prove themselves right and trying to prove you wrong, every single thing. It's not easy. But it's not for us to give up as well. This is where we bring all our minds as parents, as mothers and fathers, to get them past, because as much as we are in turbulence, so much so they are. The turbulence in their face, in their body is 10 times more what we are feeling. We are in an alien stage where we have control over it. We have the tools to maneuver that stage on. To start this, let's do an activity. You all must have seen dramas, in schools and colleges, wherein the curtains, after a drama, the curtain slowly comes together. The red velvet curtain slowly comes together. Just imagine a very, very hypothetical situation I'm giving you. You guys have imagine this. It's an activity for you. Imagine the Earth, the planet Earth is drawing curtains on light. You have 1 hour left with your child. This child who is in question today, who is challenging you the most today, all the children, and you have an hour left to spend with them because Earth is drawing curtains on light. How would you spend that 1 hour with this child? What would you say? What would you do? What would you not say? What would you not do? Just play this scenario in your mind, silently in your mind. Just got an hour with the child. Very crucial 1 hour. Maybe the last hour. How is it that you will decide you will sit with this teenager of yours? Think about it. Go reflect in detail. Bring it to your mind. Take 2 minutes. And we would love to hear from you how you envision that 1 hour. Whoever is ready with me something. have few responses, please? Lakshmi, I couldn't hear you properly. Can you ask again one more time? I was saying that Earth is shutting down, and you just have 1 hour with your child, your teenage child. How would you spend that 1 hour? What will you do? What will you say? How do you wish you have spent that very crucial, most important part of Earth's final moments? Very crucial 1 hour. This teenager who's challenging you so much today. If you're given just 1 more hour with that child, how would you wish to live that 1 hour with that child? Visualize it.
I would like to see her happy and we both having a good time discussing with each other some happy moments and all.
They go a little more into depth. A little more deep. Just a minute. Smita, would you like to add something more to it?
Yeah, I just want her to say whatever she wants to discuss with me, whatever she wants to share with me, and feel really happy and have some that sort of moment.
Alright.
I would like
Why you wanted to say something? I would make him happy, whatever he wants. So within 1 hour, whatever I can do him, so I will do it. An example? For example, he wants to have ice cream, then I will buy ice cream and give it to him. And he want to play whatever he likes more, so that time I will play with him. So whatever he likes or whatever he missed or whatever he wish to get, so I will do it. How much I can do.
Lakshmi frozen.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Soumya, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
So I think I would second almost a similar feeling, right? So it is like the best moments of the last 1 hour, at least consider it as the last 1 hour or so. That is one of the best moments. So come what may, so whatever happened, whatever is going to happen, we will forget all that and then be happy, be with together and face things brave. So happiness, that one moment
But
and
can we extend of what you said? Because your voice is very break. From what you said, I could understand you would do whatever.
I can't understand, I can't not even hear you, Lakshmi.
Lakshmi, you are frozen and your voice is completely breaking. Probably you can try without a video.
That's who will get.
Lakshmi.
Wait, I'll call her. Yes, Soumya. So you were saying that you will spend the time with him in most together with whatever brings the happiness. You will talk about it.
Right.
All right. Anyone else, Ramya, if you're there? All right. So thank you all for your response. Diba, you can go to the next slide. Let's me join. So today's session is more about how there's a lot of challenges all of you have shared in the WhatsApp group, that there are certain behavioral issues, certain argumentative issues, certain things which you are able to see as a parent, but the children are not able to see the same way. So today's session we are going to discuss on more from the child perspective on what is happening to them, right? We always probably look from the parents lens and see what is best for our children. They should do certain things, they should behave in a certain way, but we'll give you a different perspective on what's going on with them and why they find it so difficult to do whatever we expect them to do. So throughout the session we would want you to reflect on what is happening with you versus what is happening with your child, and with the different things, different scenarios, you will be able to understand that what's the best possible way where you can work with your teenagers to make sure you get what you want and they also get what they want, right? So at the end, I'm sure if I go and ask all the children, they say I want my parents to be happy. And all the parents, when I ask them what do you want for your children, as you just said, you want your children to be happy. So when the goals are same, we always wonder why it is not happening. When both of us looking for happiness for each other, what is that which is going wrong, right? Where is that we are finding it so difficult to get there? So Deepa, moving to the next slide. So let's look at the teenager brain, right? Lakshmi, you're back. Unmute. Unmute. Yeah. So the teenager brain goes through the lot of changes, and it goes through the transformation from what has been developed in first 10 or 12 years. It look at all the experience, all the information what they have received across the world, and they try to create their own belief system, right? So the teenager starts to drift away from the parents. They look for more of their experience. They want to test their own beliefs. They want to see that how world looks from their eyes, right? They do not want to see it from your eyes or anyone else's eyes. And there's a lot of thing going on in their mind when they want to experience this, and this is not something very specific for one particular child. This is how the mind and this is how the brain develops, right? So brain looks for the adventure, the brain looks for the different kind of experience. They want to probably be with the friends. They want to experience what it feels if I do something like this, something impossible, right? They are a little bit reckless. They are dramatic because they work more on the emotions. They don't think too logically or if I do what will happen. They just want to go by what they feel and they want to experience it. So there's a lot of thing going on in the teenager brain, and it doesn't work the way our brain works. It works in a completely different paradigm. It works differently. Or if you give them one particular thing and ask them to look at it, the way you look at versus the way they look at will be very different. And this is where the more of all the challenges starts, because for us the education is like this, for them the education is a very different ball game. You ask them, why do you go to school? They will say, I go to school because my friends are there, and we expect them to go to school to study, right? So the fundamentally what we look for versus what they look for is different, and is where kind of the challenges comes in. Yeah, Lakshmi, you want to add?
It is difficult for us to accept this because as parents we think whatever we are doing, whatever we are living for is for them, and why cannot we understand the importance of all the hard work that why cannot they understand that those are their lives and their future is dependent upon it. But unfortunately, very interesting part about the teenage is their brain, the development phase in which the brain is very fuzzy, it is very wobbly, it is very underdeveloped, and most unfortunate is that this decision-making brain, part of the brain develops really fast. They are driven by emotions, and this is not some fuzzy logic that we are telling you. This is not some theory that we are telling you.
are unable, they live today. Today you give them something, it tastes nice, it doesn't taste nice, they tell you that. They are unable to comprehend your emotions. What are you going through it? What will be the repercussions of it tomorrow? What will happen if I say this in the next 5 days? No, zilch. None of it they are affected by or they can process. Is the problem with maneuvering teenage of those 3, 4, 5 years? It is not that we are doing this purposely. One thing, if we can understand very clearly that your teenagers are not doing this purposely to irritate you, to insult you or to manipulate you. It is something that they are personally going through because of the brain changes that is happening. It is something they are unable to deal with on their own. There are so many things in their mind. Apart from this slow brain development, the walking, there are so many other things that's overpowering them, mostly emotions. They are unable to deal with all of that is by our logic. Like Chaitali said, our way of looking at world and life and the future, nothing makes sense. So just go with this one line. They are not doing this purposely. They are not doing this to hurt you. They are not doing this to dismiss you or insult you. At that moment, they are unable to take care of you. If you can, just remember this line and then understand, okay, if my child is not able to take care of himself or herself at that moment, then it is me, the adult, the grown up, who has to step in. A major tussle that happens generally in household is the power control. More and more power that parent wants as control, more and more freedom that the child wants to snatch away because they are exploring, they are growing. They live in a society wherein societal pressure, peer pressure, the adventure, the fun is much more outside home than it is inside home. Fun, there is no fun at home. Seriously, there's no fun at home with parents. Fun is always with gadgets or with people outside home. We want to restrict that, they want to have more. And this power tussle is what creates maximum of problems, maximum of conflict, maximum of breaking of relationships at this very crucial juncture. Imagine your child's brain as a hot molten glass. If you've seen how those molten glasses are made, you can shape them into any size or shape that you want, hot molten glass. Once it is cooled, it is permanent. You can only break it. But once it is hot and in a formative stage, whatever pressure applied, whatever stage or in whichever way, the formation is towards that. So your child right now is a hot molten glass. What you apply to it, what shape you give to it, what stresses do you give, what stresses you don't give, is what makes them finally something nice and nothing. So this picture generally is trying to give you everywhere, in every house. I would say in every house, invariably, this power struggle of the children wanting more and the parent giving out less. So whose it is? So it is obviously a parent's question. How much do I let go? How much do I allow? What is the limit? Where is the boundary? We'll discuss all that. Next. This is what Chaitanya was saying. Young children, meaning teens, they see things as they are. Whether it is people, whether it is clothes, whether it is food, whether it is nature, whether it is a day or night, they cannot think beyond what where it is today. They cannot add meanings or some layers or give it. It happened like this in the past, so it has to happen like this in the future. So this is how I am now. No, they do not have the hardware or the software capability to think and process things. That absolutely. Whereas we see complexity, we see layers. We have memories, we have past memories, we have emotional traumas, we have consequences, we have anxiety, and also we our work, what kind of words another adult uses with us, how we appreciate, take it, don't take it, makes a lot of difference on how we follow or not follow that person in the same religion. A certain expectation versus reality. Just a minute, let me go back. No, just that one. See the expectation. You can just see the expectation. So we expect our children to do as we say. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, morning this, afternoon this, evening this, today this, tomorrow this. We want, we draw a line, we want our children to stay on that line. We also want them to believe what we do. Because it has worked for us. We believe it has worked for us. We believe what our parents gave us. We believe that we were spanked, then our children should be spanked. We believe that the religion was given to us, so our children should also be God fearing. We believe that we learned things. Some believe that, speaking out loudly or reading textbooks loudly, that learning method is better, so we want our children to read loudly. We believe that, handwriting has to be impeccable, otherwise it is considered a not sign, so we want them to believe what we do. And it has been passed on to us over generations. We are trying to do that to our children. We want them to excel. We are not ready to accept anything that is mediocre. We don't want anything that is, 50-50. We want everything not an 80-90 and above. We want them to excel. Speaking, social skills, in dealing with other human beings, in their academics, of course, we want them to swim and play and talk and all the hygiene. We want everything excellent. And we want them nice. We want them, if someone comes home, we want them to talk, present, say the exact words, nice words. We take them to a balanced place. We want them to be absolutely doll-like, adorable. But what is the reality against each one of this? What is the reality? The reality is that when we say, do as I say, they are like, no, I'm saying a different thing, so I want to respond differently. Anything that is mediocre, they are observing different things. Their brain allows them to see
going on in the teenager brain, and it doesn't work the way our brain
or
works.
they may not follow.
It works in a completely different
They want to believe
paradigm.
what we believe, but it doesn't work for them. They weren't in a big joint family. They were in respected houses, and suddenly we asked them to be all nice. We asked them to believe in God. They didn't see God. They don't know how religion impacted our lives. They're not going to tell us. They're not going to tell us. And then suddenly we want them to just think it not relate to our belief system. It is like, asking them, our forefathers, we use a brush and a toothpaste. Our forefathers used a stick, a neem stick. We can't relate to it. If we were informed, imagine a set of belief system that work for us. We believe it, not relate. We want them to ask to excel. They are just under pressure. They are under tremendous pressure, academic pressure, social pressure. And their teenage brain is unable to cope up. We want them to take pictures. We ask them to smile for a picture. We want them to come with us to weddings and parties, gatherings and be nice. And they just want to be alone in their room. They just want to withdraw. They don't want to be appealing to anyone. They don't want anyone to see this. They don't want to put on a nice pair of shirts, dress and come out. They just want to be their chappals. They don't want to be their shorts. This, we can make this. Because our expectations is unreal. What is real is what you see on the right side. This is what is a fact. This is what we have to see. Because what we want versus what they need. I want them to be nice. What they need is to be important. So what is important? My wants or their needs. This is a conflict every household has where all the issues start. And if we journey of communication hasn't been continuous. We hadn't started it early. We didn't start this kind of a communication or a negotiation when we were 10 or 12. And suddenly now when they are in their absolutely prime peak, they are not able to cope up. And even they are not able to accept us that, my mom is coming and talking to me. This is weird. Why does she want to talk? Why does she want to communicate? Why is she asking about emotions? I would say, imagine a spouse, man or woman, who hasn't been very expressive, right? And suddenly the husband or the wife starts to express after so many years, starts to start to express, and even we would be a little doubtful, right? What is wrong? Why is this man or woman suddenly acting weird? Why is she or he started suddenly expressing something is gone? Take immature. If you haven't been on this journey, this communicative journey with your child, and because you want to remedy things, you want to change things, and you have started changing, your child might rebel. Your child might not accept. Your child might say you're fake. Your child might say you're acting it out. This is drama. But then, that is how the human mind works. Only if you do that consistently, only if you're continuously on that path, the child will understand this is for real. This is true. I can trust this person and I can start sharing like she used to. So, the third point that we are going to take from here is, no matter if you're new on this journey, no matter that if you've just started now, realizing that your wants and child needs are different, you've just started to change your approach to your children, please continue on that path. Don't give up. Even if your child pushes you hard, pushes you away, says nasty things, shuts the door on your face, says really hurtful words, please understand the first two rules and then this third rule. Continue. Stay put. Like you were for your child for the first 2 years of their life, your milestones when they were starting to walk, falling, when they were babbling smaller words, you were there for them unconditionally. They want you like that even now. It's just that their ways of expressing are very, very weird and different. But you stay put. You stay put with the understanding that they are not doing it purposely. So let's see what we see and what we don't see. That is the iceberg of your child. An iceberg has two parts. Something that you see, that is above the sea, and something that you don't see, that is below the water. What we see in our teenagers, what is it, right? They have a lot of aggression. Aggression with words, aggression with their doings, aggression with their siblings, aggression with parents, aggression with teachers. They have sleeping disorders, they have eating disorders, they have gadget addictions, they have withdrawal symptoms, they cannot focus, and they're so self-conscious about their face, about their body, about their hair, about their voice, so many things. These are all something that we see every day. These are all something that we talk about, we write about, we Google about. What we don't know is why are they getting into all of this? Why are they aggressive? Why are they having issues? It is because the reasons are invisible them down and come deep down and show them why. Then why they are doing what they say. This is a crucial area of parenting. To forget the behavior, forget how they are hurting, what words they're saying, and to find out why they are hurting, why they are not eating, why they are not sleeping, why they are hurting themselves. But a very important aspect alongside your child's iceberg is your iceberg, which is bigger, broader, deeper. And there is a 100% chance that if you don't address your child's iceberg right now at this age, this iceberg is going to grow big. Your child is going to grow up into an adult, that big an iceberg. So why do we have such a big iceberg? And what are the visibles that we do? They're ambitious, they're anxious, they're control freaks. We want to know every single thing about them, every minute, every hour. We want to hover over them and control their body. We want exercise and work. We want to bully them, then sometimes give them slowly reactions of small sticks to theirs. Where is all of this coming us? We are grown-ups now. You're big, developed. You're so intelligent. You're so capable. So where is our mindless reaction coming from? Where is control freakism coming from? It is coming from our invisibles. It is coming from our instinct of the iceberg that is so deep. It is coming from our past. It is coming to us from our own parents, the way they parented us, from our limiting beliefs that this is this, you do this thing this way, this is what will happen. It is coming from our fear of what we could achieve, what we could achieve, from our low self-esteem, from our low self-confidence, from our value system, from our fears. All of this is causing us to put a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure, a lot of mindless reactions on our children. We are angry not because our child is angry. We are angry because we have pressure from our parents, we have pressure from our work, we have pressure from our spouses, we have pressure in our relationships, we have financial pressure. All of this in our iceberg. All of this is causing anger, frustration outward, and it falls off to children, and slowly their iceberg begins to develop into an iceberg. So I would tell all parents here, before you even try to understand or try to change anything in your teenage child right now, it would be more easy, it would be more smooth if you understand who you are and what's causing your iceberg, what's causing your reactions, what's causing your outbursts, what's causing you anxiety. It may not be the child at all. The child may be comfortable. The child may be actually happy with his life every day, with the way he's studying, with his grades, how he's doing. It could be maybe your anxiety. It could be your insecurity or fear about the past or the future. That is putting a lot of pressure on your child. If you guys can, take some time every day to understand where are you coming from, it will help you understand where your child is. Whether would you like to add something?
Yeah, just to add a point here that if you think about your parents, right? So how your parents did a parenting for you, how it was different. What is remarkably has changed over a period of time between the parents. Our parents had a complete trust and belief in us that they will do whatever they can, right? They gave us a strong belief system based on the routine, based on certain rules. But beyond that, they never worried about us. They were never anxious about us. They never laid a path for us that this is how you are supposed to walk. Compared to them, look at us, what we are trying to do. We are not focusing on giving a strong belief system. We are not trying to trust our children. But what we are trying to do is, we want to lay the path which kind of feels comfortable for us, and we want them to walk there, which is where a lot of challenges are coming in, right? So our parents, we can always say that those days the addiction was not, mobile was not there, so there were less harmful things available. But still, there was a transition from their era to our era, where mobile came in, the TV came in. They were never worried about it. Okay, my child is going to become like this. But look at us, how we are worried about for everything. If my child goes with a set of friends in the night, I don't know what they will learn. What if they go to hostel and stay? What if they take drugs? All this was never worried for our parents, because they believe that my child will not do certain things. Where is those belief gone? Why are we so anxious parent? Right? Because somewhere we want to safeguard everything. Somewhere we have lost belief in ourselves that we are raising them right. Right? And that is where this iceberg helps you, that every time you have a conflict with your child, you need to understand where it is coming from. Right? It is not your child, it is somewhere us. It is our fear, it is our insecurities, our anxiousness is what results, and we kind of put it back on them. Right? Deepa, you can go to the next slide. Yeah. Lakshmi, go ahead. Alright, what is... Yeah, go ahead.
She has just joined up. I think some internet issue with her.
Okay, if you have to give me one word for this slide, what will you give me? Or you can tell me what is this slide about.
I think the way we look at versus the way other person looks at, right? So from one side it looks like 9 and from the other side it looks like 6. So the perspective or the viewpoint or from where you look at it is what matters.
Yes. So this is perspective, right? On, for us, Deepa, go ahead. For us, certain things are very foolish, influence, mindless, dangerous. But for their perspective, it is exciting, it's fun, it's sense of belonging, right? They're testing their limits, they're testing their belief. They are fine, they are trying to discover themselves. Please don't stop that, right? And they are not going to discover themselves the way you want them to, right? They will find their own way. We all did. We were teenagers like that. Believe me, if you guys reflect back, this is how we were also. But then our parents were not the way we were. They were very different. They gave us that space, they gave us that time. They did not go and micromanage everything, that which is your friend, who is your friend, why that friend is like this. It is we have started doing this. So when we start looking at things differently from our children's point of view, and in the current society, in the current world, where the technology, where the mobile phone, where the social media influence is not going to go away, right? You will try to understand them so well, right? Because they need to learn how to deal with all these influences. We taking away the mobile, we stopping them going out, that's not going to help them. But it is a dangerous world, but they need to find their footing in this dangerous world. We can't do anything about it. We need to make them prepare to handle their future, and from here it is going to go further complicated, where there will be less people who will understand them, there will be more machines, they will probably lose more human connection. But in that, unless and until they know who they are or why they are doing certain things, it's going to be very difficult for them to survive. So for their good, I request each one of you to look at their perspective, look at their life in the future, where we probably will not be there, how they will be ready. What are you doing it now to make them ready for that when you will not be around? How will they make their decisions, how they will make their choices, how they will make their friends, how will they do their routine? It is not based on what we are going to keep reminding them. It has to come something from inside, and that is where our work lies. Okay? Any questions so far? We can probably pause before moving ahead. Yes, Somi.
I think we're good. I think we can go ahead. No questions.
No questions. All right.
At least from my end, yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Deepa, you can go to the next slide. So this is a pause. I think we have spoken about it, but let's just take a pause and understand that why are they the way they are, right? The massive restructuring in the brain is happening, right? This is not something getting influenced by friends. This is not something influenced by probably the society. It is something happening inside their brain. The brain goes through the complete restructuring at this age, and as I said earlier, right, they start to make their own belief system. The neurons makes different connections. The neuron makes different understanding of how the things needs to be perceived or how the things needs to be handled. And there are three main part of the brain. One is called a survivor brain. The second is this amygdala, which is kind of full of emotions, and the third is a prefrontal cortex, is where the decision, the logic, the rational thing happens. For all the teenagers, most of the processing of the information happens through the amygdala, right? So they are driven by their emotions. They are not driven by the logic, and it is not something abnormal, but that is how the brain works. And the prefrontal cortex gets developed till their age of 2022. So when we expect them to think far-fetched, that after college, if you take particular line, you are not going to get a job or you may not have a bright future, they can't get there. They can't think, right? But and you probably can argue that no, we can see that, and that is what we are telling them, and they need to believe. But please understand that the what you are looking is also probably going to change. It may not be there. But if this moment, if you give them the belief, if you give them that confidence that whatever you want to do, you will be able to do it. It will go in much longer way in their life than one particular decisions. Many of us have changed our profession after we have probably done a certain degree, right? We would have done probably, as I can take my example where I have done engineering, but after a few years I realized that that is not something I want to do. I have changed it. So those options are going to be available. But what stayed with me, that if I decide to do something, I will be able to do it. That is more important. That's where the work lies. They might not get the same job. That's okay. They may not take the same degree. But that's something we need to be okay with it. So decision making part happens at the last. So don't expect them to make bigger decision. Allow them to make a decision based on their ability. Every child, every teenager is different. Every teenagers understand things differently. You know your child best, and you are probably the best mother out there. You work on your instinct, give them a boundary, let them take the decisions, right? Let them probably see how the things work out, right? Maybe 2 times they are going to take wrong decisions, but then 3rd time they will figure themselves out and they will make the right decisions. But unless you give them those chances, you give them that opportunities, they will not be able to learn how to make good decisions. Yes. So yes, allow them to make choice because they need independence. It is their need. Allow them to probably talk about different things. That is the only way you will understand that what they think about the world, right? One of the key thing everyone needs to understand here, if you want to fix any teenager problem, or for that example any child issue, unless and until you know what is going in their mind, how they are processing the information, you will not be able to fix it. We cannot go and try to fix their mind that this is how you need to think. It is how we make them unable to think in certain way. That is where our work would be, right? So respect their choices however they are. Yes, I'm not saying that you give them the full freedom, but give them the boundaries, give them the things that this is where you will operate, this is where your boundary lies. It could be your basic belief system, it would be your basic value system in terms of honesty, in terms of integrity, in terms of kindness, and then let them operate from there however they want to operate. But that has to be very strong, where those are the things can be non-negotiables, right? The arguments, the conflict of interest, the thing, the way they want to do could be different, but then fundamentally you keep this thing there and always fill it with the empathy thing from their point of view. on what they are going through in terms of the junk food, the influence. Even as an adult with a fully grown up mind, there is a lot less we are able to do with ourselves, while we expect them to do a lot with themselves, where their mind is still developing, right? They are yet to experience the world, but our expectations are skyrocketing for them, that they have to do everything like this. All right. So, Deepa, one by one. So, your child is not you. Please understand that. I have twin daughters. They are not like each other, right? So, forget about we and our finding a similarity between us and them. Their world is different. Our world is different. So, they will not do the things the way we have done things now or even in future, right? So, that doesn't mean that you are not a good mother or your child is not a good child. Both of you are still good, right? Next, freedom with responsibility. They would need freedom, but when you give freedom, you give them responsibility very clearly, and be very firm here. Okay, you don't have to be very kind and very flexible here. Here you can be inflexible, where you give them certain freedom, that if you are going out with your friend all by yourself, it is your responsibility to do 1, 2, 3. Like, make sure that you call me on time. You make sure that you don't hurt anyone the way you speak or the way you do things. The third thing is, you will take care of yourself. These are the responsibility comes with the freedom, and don't negotiate in this. Now, this can be different for different people, different situation, but keep this thing in your mind, that freedom comes with the responsibility. Yes. Encourage to share feelings and express mood. Every time your teenager comes and tells you something, listen first, don't advise. Give this challenge for 21 days to yourself, that I will not advise my teenager when they come and speak with me. First thing, I will listen. I will just listen. I will probably inquire further and ask them what is that which is happening. Yeah. Next. Nutrition in adolescence is crucial. Yes. But now again, if you are going to force them to eat in certain way, it may not work. So you have to somehow make them understand that this is important. Not by telling, not by giving the advice, right? Making them understand in a sense that, see, if you eat junk food, you're going to put on weight. If you put on weight, you may not be able to wear the dress you want to wear. Your friends might make a fun of you. That might affect your self-esteem. If you're playing, you may not be able to play well. Now you have a choice. Do you want to eat junk food or not? Right? When you grow up, if she is a girl, you can say that when you have a child, you will have backache. You can explain things in lot of way. But at the end of the day, the choice is there. Now I have told you all this. This might happen. Now still you want to go ahead with the kind of choices you are making for food, it's yours. Here the very important thing for all of us is that sometime when our children learn things in a harder way, it is extremely painful for parents. But you have no other way out. If you are going to force them to do it in a certain way, it may not work. But take a pain, have a belief that they will understand. Here your pain is not important, but their learning is important. Go through that pain. You have went through the significant pain of 9 months and delivering the child. This is extremely small compared to that. But go through that pain. Don't try to fix it. This is where most of us falter, and then things go haywire. Right? It is painful. It is, every mother or every father will say, it hurts. And yes, and you can explain that to your child also, that it hurts me, but then I am still allowing you to do that. Yes, Deepa. Give them a lot of sleep. Yes, have your routines, family routines of doing things in a certain way. Here they might say, I will not do it. Give them a half an hour, 1 hour of grace time, but then still they have to do it. You can say that till the time you are in my house, you need to do things in a certain way. There's nothing wrong about it, right? Go ahead, Deepa. Assign course to access the privilege. They have to do certain things. Involve them in the whole living process. It is not only about the studying. They need to understand how a family is run. If you wish them to have a family, they need to understand the pain and the sacrifice and the effort goes into it every single day, right? And they need to think about someone else before they think about themselves. Now, this is where, now again, it is not about they finishing the work. Okay, it is not about they folding the clothes or they washing the dish. It is about, if you wash the dish, it will be less work for the maid or for me, or it will be less work for someone else, right? Yeah, you may not feel, you may feel extremely bored, but you still have to do it because someone else might feel better, or they will be able to do their job earlier. Now this is a learning, and this takes time for them to think about someone else before they think about themselves, putting someone else in first. Yes. So interest in their interests, yes. Understand what is Instagram, what are they trying to do. Understand what kind of YouTube video they watch, why they watch. Have you ever asked that why do you watch like this? What is the fun you get from the shorts or the Instagram reels? They might say this is just the fun. I don't have to use my mind. But understand what they are looking. I am sure they do not want to get influenced. I am sure they do not want to get bad influence and then implement in their life. No. They just want to see. They feel something out of it. Every child feels differently, but you need to find out what is that they feel. Yes, Deepa. Do not compare with others, please. This is something which we need to do it ourselves first, and then we need to do it for others, means our children. Don't compare yourself as a mother with someone else. You are different, your child is different, your family is different. You live your life in your way, whatever works for you and your family. Don't compare your children with someone else. That is something, it is proven in research that it really, really, really impacts their self-esteem. And if you look deep with your iceberg, you will also feel the same, right? If somewhere our self-esteem is low, which is there for all of us, it is because we have been compared sometime in our life, which has stayed with us. So don't do that with our children, because they are going to go in a very different world where more nuclear family, more loneliness. They are not going to have a people around them. So if they don't have their self-esteem in place, they may have a lot more challenges to deal with. So please don't compare with others. Yes. Pay them for running around errands to begin with money lessons. Yes. Let them deal with the money. If they keep asking, some of you have asked, they keep asking a lot of things from the peers because they see it. You decide the money. This is all. 500 rupees per month is what you get to spend. You want to spend on the food, you want to spend to buy things. It's all I can get you. But be very clear about what is that works for you. Yes, Deepa. Pay attention to spans of behavior change. So any behavior or any judgment you take from your child's behavior, don't take based on one particular incident. Observe the pattern. If they lied, if they went out with the wrong friend, or if they did something which is probably not appropriate, don't try to label them in the one incident. Observe the pattern. Observe why they are doing that, and when they are calm, you don't ask them that why are you doing things like this. You say that I have been observing this, I want to understand from you that what's happening with you, right? The way you ask question changes the way they answer, right? If you ask the question in an interrogative way, you're not going to get anywhere. But if you ask questions based on the inquiry and empathy, your answers are going to be much more engaging, and it will lead you to the much more fruitful discussion and the problem which you will be able to solve with it. Yes. Yes, go ahead, Deepa. It's fine. It's fine. Initial emotional deposit. Now, this is a term we can relate. How much you invest in them as a time, as a love, not in terms of how much they obey us, how much they follow what we say, but how much we listen to them, how much we allow them to explore, how much we make them believe that whatever I am doing it for your good, right? You initiate this, they will give it back, right? It has to be the balance. I always give this example of a scale, a plastic scale. You can bend it, but beyond the point when you bend, it will break. Never do this with your children. You allow them to mold, but then don't mold in such a way that they break down, right? I'm not saying you don't shout, I'm not saying that you don't discipline them. Do everything, but at the core, your connection, your emotional connect has to be very, very important. Yes, delay gratification. We all want instant gratification, which is a clear example that we want our children to get fixed like this, because we also want instant gratification. They are not going to get fixed immediately, they are going to get fixed only after 5-6 years, but we have to be at it with full commitment, with full patience, with full perseverance, the courage, everything, every day. We have to keep doing it with an extremely strong belief in ourselves, in them, that they will turn out to be good, because we are raising them right. All right, so I think that is all we had. Deepa, I think we can skip this. We can take the questions. Anything else you guys want to say? Deepa, you want to add something from your end? So this is what we wanted to cover in terms of giving you a different perspective, making you aware of your own iceberg on why we do what we do. And we wanted to make you understand that the children don't do this because they want to hurt you. It is not their intention. They are dealing with lot of things in their mind. The way you look at things is not the same way we look at things. You ask them, why do you go to school? Basic fundamental question. They will say, to meet with friends. I don't think so more than 10% of students will say that, I go to study. No. They have a lot of different reasons to go to school, which is okay. For them, the learning is different. So understand that, and you will be able to take them along with you, where both of you can find the balance, meeting each other's needs. Yes, Deepa.
So from the teen perspective, if you start being vulnerable in front of them, they are going to again be open. For example, if I am tired today from work, I go home. I don't act like a superheroine or a superhero. Rather, I tell them I'm actually very tired. I don't know what it kind of drained off me. I don't know what. So when you start talking, because especially with teenagers, before the children will be actually more closer to you. They would want to talk to you and tell you and be vulnerable in front of you. But maybe they feel that they are like kind of superheroes. They don't
closing, I want to say one thing, that your children are learning how to deal with relationships, how to deal with two different people from the way you relate them. Based on your relationships with them is what they learn. Every time, if we exercise our parental power, when they grow up, they are going to use their power, which might hurt them, and that is something we definitely don't want them to do that. So our relationship with them should be the model for them to work on any further relationship which they do in their life, right? Be it with the friends, be it with anyone, where people are different, but you respect. There is a fundamental respect for each other, there is a fundamental belief system for each other, and how you work through the conflict. It is not that it is all smiles all the day. There are tears, there are sadness, but you can overcome that, because fundamental, our foundation is extremely strong. Now that is something missing in all of these children, but that is what we need to work on. So thank you everyone. That is what we wanted to cover. If you guys have any questions, we are more than happy to take. I think Lakshmi's internet is giving her trouble and she is unable to join. So any questions? Thank you.
Sally, for such a wonderful session. We know most of the things we know, but to bring it into practice, even we are the first time parent, it sometimes becomes so difficult, whatever we know, to implement it, as we are raised different and we are raising differently. So how can we work on that? That is the main question. Sometimes I know whatever you said, I know, I agree, but to implement it, sometimes it's really difficult.
Yes, Mita, and I would say we may not reach 100% in this lifetime, but if we reach 80%, or we reach a stage where none of us are broken at the end of the teenage period, right? I think we are good enough, right? And as Deepa said, if we accept in front of them that, these are my fears, this is where I am coming from, they will understand it better, right? So even for the colleges, when you say that, I have seen people struggling getting the job if they are not in the good college, and you don't get marks if you don't have the you don't get in admission into the good college if you don't have good marks, they will relate. But if we just keep asking them, you have to get good marks, they don't get it. Why are you saying me that I need to get good marks, right? So it is always explaining them in little bit more detail, give them that whole scenario, and then let them understand and then decide what they want to do, right? They will not listen to us, this is black. They will argue with us 10 times, no, this doesn't look like black. But give them the way and they will understand. And we all have our down days like they have. We are all humans, let's not forget that. But I truly believe that fundamentally we are mothers, and if we work on that mother instinct, we cannot go wrong. We just cannot go wrong. But yes, if we think of lot of things, we get anxious, we compare ourselves with others, then yeah, you listen to all the voices around you except yours. I think there are chances of something not going right, but if you listen to your voice, you will go right, is what I believe.
True. For Smita, as you said, the implementation part, I think we have also come across those things. So as we discussed, first being vulnerable in front of children helps you a lot for you to pause and do it, so that they understand you and you understand them, and sometimes they act as a group. Amma, you said you will not show. Can you give a break, kind of thing? So they become our reminders, first thing. Second thing is, in front of them, you can
Yes. Any other questions?
Um, in one slide you have mentioned to open up them on the sexuality. So I don't know how to start talking about the teenage life, but how to overcome that one. So how to explain with them or she. So that one.
You have a son or daughter, ma'am?
Son.
Okay, so there are a couple of ways to do this, right? So one, you can definitely take help of the father and then let father explain to the son. The second thing is there are a lot of books available.
Actually, I'm a single parent.
Okay.
So
But you can take help from any other friend of yours or any relative of yours who can probably have a men-to-men talk. That is one way. If that is not available, there are a lot of books available, the childlike books, which is there in the market. You can give him that. The last thing is you understand what it is, you know what it is, right? And without, let's not assume here that we have to teach everything to our child. Ask your son about it, no, that what do you think you are observing in your body and mind which is changing? What are your feelings which are changing? You don't have to say anything. Your probably son will tell you everything what he knows, and then you just add little bit wherever you feel there is a vacuum or there is a space for you to correct it. Your son might know everything, right? And what is that we want to give them at the end of the day? That be hygienic about it, be hygienic about your private parts, right? Probably how the reproduction process work, how this whole sex thing works, they know already, but we want to give them the ethics around it, right? That what is that, when you do it, how you do it, with whom you do it, right? You don't have to do that probably unless and until your son is ready to take all of that. So first step in talking about the sexuality is to get to know what they know. Then you give them the information whatever is required. Don't take it as a challenge. No one told us about the sexuality. We figured it out. They will also figure it out. They are in the world of YouTube. But the fundamental thing we need to give them is how how our values are related with this whole thing about the sexuality is what we need to give them, and you need to be open about it, man. Don't worry. Just ask your son, what do you think? Or watch a particular movie, their particular scene is there, and you ask them that, hey, what do you think about this? Is it okay to go into the uniform to the beach and then kiss? Your son might say no, your job is done. You might see a movie where there is a living relationship. You can ask your child, what do you think about the living relationship? Or whenever you get time, he will say that, yeah, I don't think so, it is okay or it is not okay, whatever. You ask your child that, do you guys have a boyfriend girlfriend thing happening in your school? He will tell everything to you what is happening and what all they do. Inquire, ma'am. Please inquire. You will get lot of information from them, and you will realize that actually we don't have to give anything. They know everything. So you try that, ma'am, and if you think that you still need help, we can probably have a detailed discussion on how to take that discussion forward. But please try first. Just inquire. Inquire about the boyfriend girlfriend, inquire about the live-in relationship, inquire about the whole these things about the same-sex marriage. Just ask, and then you will know what they think about it. And how old is your son, ma'am?
13 years.
13, 1 3?
Yeah.
You still have lot of time. I think you can stick to the hygiene part of it and just ask him what is changing in your body. I think he will be able to explain you, and you can just tell that you make sure that you take a proper bath and take care of it. I think it will stop
Actually,
there.
he is very shy. He can't open his mouth.
Yeah, so now when they don't talk, generally they will not be able to talk about this, right? So it is breaking the ice stage by stage, right? So you probably ask him what is happening in the school, then he will probably open up, right? But first you have to make that connection, ma'am. Otherwise, asking just like that will not work if he's not talking to you all the time, right? So
Okay, ma'am.
yeah, did I answer your question? Did you get the clue?
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. I
Let's
will
start with general topics.
Yeah.
Maybe on the first day itself you cannot talk about it, but make it a routine that whenever you sit together, maybe 10 minutes, general talk. Hey, what is happening? How are your friends? Where are they going for tuition? Do they learn like this? How is your teachers? All those things. And then maybe some family related stuff, some
because if he's shy, maybe you want to understand why he's shy. I don't know. Why doesn't he talk?
No, actually, he is talking about like other related stuffs and all, like friends and some regarding the girls and all. Those kind of details alone, he is hesitate to talk with me.
But then you have to sit down and say that, see, I am the single mother, and it is the time that we need to discuss about this because your body and mind is going through the changes. So you have to tell me whatever you are feeling or whatever you are thinking, or ask me if any doubts you have. You have to.
And
Yeah, go ahead, Deepa.
no, probably re-emphasize that you're not going to judge him
Correct.
or name him, shame him based on the answers he's going to tell, because these children, whenever they are shy, I have seen that with my son. He doesn't talk about his friends initially because he thinks that I'm going to validate his friends through the things he's going to tell me. For example, he says that his friend X didn't get a good mark. I might say whether is he okay, why he's not hardworking, kind of. So my son has a fear that his friend is getting validated through the things he's telling about his friend. So tell him, I'm not going to validate your friend. I'm happy that you're happy with your friends. I'm just here to get to know more about them. So when you re-emphasize that, they will slowly open up, ma'am. They have a fear that their friends are judged. They are judged. They are validated. So when you remove that fear of validation, being judged from a teenager, they generally open up. Not only in this topic, every topic. For all the parents here, when you constantly talk to them and remove the fear of being judged or validated, or validating your child through their friends, all those things, when it happens, they stop talking about them. When it doesn't happen, when you're open to them, saying that okay, his personality is like that, unconditional acceptance. When it involves that stage, I think they will talk now. Chaitanya, you want to add up?
No, I just wanted to ask, ma'am, that what is that you want to tell him about the sexuality? What is in your mind? Why do you think it is necessary to have the discussion?
No, in previously, like we were around some 15 or 17 year only, we feel like if we saw some opposite sex, then we feel something different, like to be in love, to be in
Correct.
love with them, or to be so like that. But nowadays, like phone, mobile, and a lot of cinemas, so etc. They are feeling like in the 12 or 13 itself, they feel like a teenage persons, and if you see some opposite sex persons, they feel like something differently. So that I want to remove it. Like if he is going to talk with one girl, she feel different, he feel differently.
Okay, but isn't it that biologically we have evolved, that what we experience or what hormones secreted in us at 15 and 17 has started coming at the age of 13 and 14 our children, and it is very normal for them to look at the girls in a different way, or they feel something inside them, right? It is hormone, ma'am. It is the system, the biological system which is working, and it differs for different every single child, right? It doesn't happen 13 for everyone or 14 for everyone. But what is that underlying thing we want to tell our children? What is it you want to tell him? That don't look at girls. Girls are going to be there everywhere around.
Yeah, that's what I feel. Yeah, girls and boys are same. So if you speak with the girls also, you don't feel something differently. So I want to tell to him.
But he cannot do that, no? So he may not feel like that for all girls, but he might feel differently for few girls, right? Now this is again, it is a biological thing, right? But what is that we want to say is that you need to respect the girls, right? No matter who they are, irrespective of their beauty, their color or everything. Boys and girls are same. They have the strength, but they are powerful in different ways, right? So that is one message you want to give. So no matter how you look at the girls, but the first thing first is you need to respect, right? The second thing you want to tell is that you might feel something different when you look at certain girls. Hold on to that, right? You don't have to go and cross the limit of going physical with them in any ways, right? You don't allow someone to hold your hands or someone to go beyond holding the hands or kissing or having sex. You take lot of time. You respect your body first, right? You get to know that person, you understand that person, and then only you take that step. Tell that, because that is not going to be one true for one girl, but till he finds whatever he wants to settle down with, right? So every time he has to remember that, right? The physicality comes later. The first, the person's character, the person's heart comes, and you always get to know that, irrespective of it is a boy or girl, right? But you can't say that you have to talk to all the girls and you don't talk to these two girls. It will not work, because he will find someone interesting, he may not find someone interesting. He will be friend with someone, he will be little bit more closer friend with someone. But what is there underlying your fear which is making you think all this is what you need to understand.
Okay.
What is your fear? That what if we fall in love? Is what your fear is?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is love for this age? You ask them, no? What do you mean by love? It is very superficial and you can't stop them. They might say that I like that girl. Okay. Don't do any of this. You can talk to that girl. What does love means? You'd say I love you to me, you say I love you to your friends. You can say I love you to someone. But for a certain age, you only limit your friendship or your relationship to this. Why? At the age of, you can give this example, ma'am, at the age of 18 you are allowed to vote. Why not at the age of 13, 14, 15? They have the answer for this. Ask him, I'm sure he will give you the answer, that we may not be able to identify the right person, we may not be able to take the right decision. Tell him that for you to decide that you will spend your life with someone or you will do lot of things with this person, you are not yet prepared. It will come only after the age of 18. So till that time, for you, all the people you deal with them as a friends, right? They are your friends, get to know them. Maybe you spend more time with someone, maybe you spend less time with someone, maybe you go out with someone, maybe you don't go out with someone, but it ends there. It is not beyond that. That's how you need to explain that. But you continuously fearing about it and worrying every girl he talks will not lead anywhere. Trust him. Yeah?
Yeah, it gives more clarity, ma'am.
Yeah, don't worry. They will have lot of Insta chat. They will do lot of things. This is probably beyond our understanding, but let it happen. Okay, nothing big is going to happen right now at the age of 13. I can tell you. He might have one eye, one heart, one you drawn somewhere. It is okay. Inquire. Don't feel that he is a bad guy. Yeah, make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Good clarity. Yeah,
Yes.
thanks.
Yes, anyone else? Okay, thank you very much for your time. And Smita, you want to ask something?
No, thank you. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Thank you so much for your time, and we hope that you will make smaller changes as the day go by, and it brings peacefulness in your parenting and make you and your children a better people. So, all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank
This
you
is
so
a very
much.
good session, very informative, and make us all think back. So before we shout, take 1 minute to think, and at least that will help us to calm down and make them also in the right direction. So that's something very nice.
We want everyone to be happy. They want you to be happy. You want them to be happy. So, let's make it true. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye bye.